Hello, and welcome to Khyber Shards, a 5th edition actual play show set in the Eberron campaign world. It is Friday, so we have a Khyber Shards Answers, and I really don't know what we have to talk about. It was such a dull episode last time, so we have
Yeah.
to just a couple of questions, though. Um, so there are two questions that are, I think, mostly jokes, and then there's one question that deals with really the meat of the issue last episode. So I'm going to get the two uh, simple ones out of the way. Emily wants to know, how do you feel about your replacement communicator?
How do I feel? I feel fine. I'm usually down for the consequences of my actions. Um Esri I mean it's nice that Ari's thinking of him, trying to get him a way to be included. I don't where everyone's caught up. I don't think it's been used once yet. So
Well, it's because
and And the
as
last
soon as he
thing
gave
we
it to
saw
you,
is
he
he took it away
took it.
and threw it down a hole. So, um, we'll see. Esri can't use it; he can only consume it, or he can only
Yeah.
hear it. So, eh, you know,
Did
it's
you
it's fine.
did you get it before the earthquake? Did you use it during the earthquake?
Um,
Or no? No,
no,
you
it
didn't because it was
was
yeah.
after that,
Right. That's
and then
what.
like the first time he gave it to me, we didn't use it, and then I guess it disappears after a day. So then he gave it to me
Right.
again, and then threw it down a hole. So, no, no usages yet.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, it's it's a thoroughly inconvenient thing, when the whole party has a way to talk to each other and you don't. On the other hand, it makes for some fun, some funny interactions
Yeah.
if like everyone can remember that that's happening. That's the hardest thing, and why I'm sure you you gave us all one, so you don't have to remember. Everyone has it. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine. We'll figure it out. Um,
You find Forge again. Maybe he
we're
can.
not the We're not the best at communication to begin with,
That's accurate.
s
That's
so it's not
accurate.
like that much was lost.
And then Laura asks, "Are you excited to become friends with Tommel again after you all make up next episode?"
Mm. Yeah. Oh, boy. I mean, I don't know where this is how this is gonna play out. Running away is always a viable I mean, maybe it's not always viable, but it's always an option to try.
Right.
Um Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's pretty resolved to kill Tommel. Hashtag kill Tommel at this point. That's if we weren't before, now probably gonna try. Um, I guess you've already revealed in Discord anyway that um we're not going to be able to have an episode on Monday for the first time in 2 years and 3 months or
Yeah.
something like that. Um, and so were we to have an episode, we would have potentially we talked about the potential of running the episode without Casey, um, who's been ill. Uh, so it could have been even worse.
Right.
Uh, I I was trying to figure out how we run that without two damage dealers. With
Mhm.
I mean, I guess I don't know that Cal also is absent because I don't know why Shade would have been absent, what we would have done. But um, yeah, this seems like a hard fight. We didn't rest Pog,
Right.
a- and I that doesn't seem like a good thing. I think I think we're in for it. Um,
Well,
I wasted a
speaking
spell on an NPC.
speaking of not resting Pog, Mia's question raises that point. Um As the self proclaimed captain of Team Esri, I wanted to ask, this is Mia speaking, how does it feel for Esri to be at odds with the group as often as he is? Do you see that as his role in the group? Had you intended that to be the case, or was it something that developed over time?
It definitely wasn't intended that way. It developed almost immediately. It didn't take very
Right.
much time. Uh, and that's just well, I mean, I'm sure you can try to unpack that in a whole lot of ways, but it's just sort of how the personalities of the characters fell out and the goals of the characters fell out as we started things off. I'm okay with it. I don't have a problem with inter-party conflict too often, as long as it's actually party conflict and not player
Right.
conflict. That that's fine. Um, I think I think certain things would go better if they would listen to Esri. He is the voice of caution often, but also mm, that's all always debatable. We don't know. It's not reality, so time doesn't work exactly the same way. But we don't know what you as a GM would have changed in this particular instance. Had we rested for an hour, what does that change? I don't even know what's happened yet, so I don't know what could
Right.
change, but maybe something could. And so there's always going to be that trade off of waiting or not. I mean, we did see that with Blackbriar.
Hmm.
Um, we waited a little bit longer, and so some things were found out. Um, so as his role, yeah, I mean, I also don't necessarily see that as a role exactly. It's just a conflict of personalities, and we're not always saying different things. It
Right.
just maybe more off more often than you might think would happen. Um, he doesn't have by design. His character is not selfless. I
Right.
wouldn't even say he doesn't have a hero. I was gonna say he doesn't have wow, an instinct for heroism. Um, but that's not even true. I don't think that's quite true. Um, because I think he does. It's just very narrowly applied.
Mm.
It's n- it if you define heroism as a selfless act, I guess, then sure, he doesn't have that instinct. Um, but he is very willing to put himself in danger in certain circumstances for certain people.
Yeah.
And even unreasonably so.
Hmm.
Uh, it's just very narrowly applied. And so when it's okay, are we talking about going after these people who are vaguely maybe doing something bad that maybe we can stop? Well, no. Why would we do that? That's just putting ourselves in danger. But if it's you guys are going down here and you're going to be worse off if I'm not there, then yeah, of course he's going. And
Sure.
then if it's my friends are in danger, the epicenter of a earthquake, it's not really a question of what he's going to do. Um, and it's also, I think we as a group do have the same end point in mind. There's just not it's very different points of view on how to go about it. Everyone wants to kill Tommel. Uh, Esri would just rather not go blindly into a situation where there's just no chance of having the advantage.
Mm.
We might win, but not because we are clever about it. We just are there. Um, and it's chasing a dragon into its lair.
Sure.
Uh, yeah, we all want to kill the dragon, but its lair. It,
Yeah. It was interesting watching the discussion about the argument because um while you guys were discussing whether or not to rest, I was thinking, okay, what does change if they rest? Like if what the bad guys are doing, what what do they move on to? Do they move on to something? Are they still there and just further along and whatever? Like just trying to work out how much does the what the villains are doing progress if you guys take a short rest? And I think what happened is Eric saw me doing that because Ari's vote changed partway through that conversation. Like it began, everybody left the Ankeg nest looking for a place to take a break, and it was very much uh, Ari started to changed his vote. Well, Shade started to change her vote, and then Ari changed his vote, and then the momentum of it shifted. And I think Eric saw me thinking, trying to work out what happened next, and decided that he was afraid of the consequences. Um, so
Yeah, that makes me think of something. I I don't know. I only have one example of this, but my instinct tells me that this has probably happened more than once, where Esri ends up looking like um the bad guy or the guy making the bad decisions sometimes because he makes like these tandem decisions and we go along with one of them, but we don't go along with the next one and they're really dependent on each other. So like, I told Pog not to take the healing potion
Mhm.
because we're going to rest.
Right,
Let's not use this resource when we can use this resource, right?
right.
And so we didn't use this resource, and then we also didn't use this resource. So now he's more hurt than he would have been um, otherwise. And I do kind of wonder how often that's happened, where it's like, no, no, you have listen to the whole plan. It doesn't work if you just do part A.
I think even beyond Esri, that's got to be a fairly common D&D group reality, just with the way that
Yeah,
planning tends to run in D&D groups, is that you end up with, we did this part of it but we forgot step zero point 0.5 before we got to step 1.
right.
And now we're in a real pickle. Um, there's a there's an interesting solution to that I've seen in the game Blades in the Dark, which I've kind of borrowed a little bit from in some of the things that we've done here. But Blades in the Dark is all about heists, and the way it's designed is you skip that planning session. Like you get really big, broad strokes planning. Are we trying to sneak in? Are we just going to bulldoze our way? Like, what's our approach? And then you start the heist, and players can spend stress to call for a flashback to something they did to prepare for this particular part of the heist. Um,
Mechanical retcon.
yeah, essentially, yes. So it would be like um, me saying, okay, someone push and declare that Pog did, in fact, knock back a healing potion on the way in, or something like that. And I think that's probably a pretty good mechanical concept, just because we're sitting around a table playing a game and we all shouted out a bunch of ideas and finally settled on a plan, but we didn't actually get to spend 3 or 4 days working our way through the plan
Right.
and going through the steps of it. We did it in the space of time that the screen that's on the screen in an Ocean's 11 movie, but we didn't do it in the weeks of time that are actually passing before we hit the casino.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good mechanical option to allow as a GM, because I think it's probably, I mean, if this is the way you run your game, that's fine, but I think it's probably a little implausible for a GM to expect the players to come up with a plan and execute it in one session without the benefit of the time that you would have in reality to recognize flaws in the plan.
Right.
So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, um, so yeah, so
There definitely
I
is a lot
yeah.
of, "Oh, yeah, we said we were gonna do that."
but we never
We
got
didn't
around
say
to
that
it.
we did that.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes, I mean, sometimes that's fun. Sometimes that creates an interesting dramatic situation. And other times it feels like going gotcha as the DM. And I'm not sure which where the balance is between that.
Yeah.
It's probably about setting expectations at your table as to which way you're gonna lean in it. But yeah, I'm not sure which way is the more fun and dynamic way. But here we are. Yeah, I'm excited for the fight. I'm glad we didn't go ahead because we were talking about it and trying to work out our schedule, and I'm glad we didn't go ahead because there's just there's just a lot of narrative baggage sitting on the table right here. We've got that
Right.
mysterious big guy that Esri spotted before. We've got Tommel again. We've got presumably some of Tommel's Stormhammer cronies. And so there's just a lot of narrative baggage sitting on the board at the moment. So I'm glad we
What was
didn't.
our last what was our last like straight up fight? Cuz I mean, we had the big train fight, but like that was so disparate and some of us were fighting and some of us weren't. When was the last time we like squared up? As a group, I'm trying to
uh
remember.
let's see, it's not, yeah, it wouldn't be anywhere during the vampire chase because y'all skipped the fight that I had set up by saying yes to demise.
I
Because I had a
mean, is it
fight set
just
up for her to try
Blackbriar?
and steal it. It might be
That
all
the
the way
last
back to
time?
Blackbriar.
So,
It's been a hot minute.
yeah, I mean it's going to be it's, it's going to be significant. We haven't spent a lot of the campaign doing that,
Yeah.
surprisingly. And so I think there's a I mean, we had Blackbriar, we had the the nest
Yeah.
fight. Although I mean, we were very off balance on that one, but it was like a group fight.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. No, I
Esri's
am.
not, but
I am
I
too.
am.
Yeah. It should be fun. I've been enjoying working out what the stat blocks for the various characters in it look like, and sort of mapping out the strategy to the degree that that's not just a total act of futility. But we'll see. And designing the miniatures in HeroForge for it.
Ah,
That's been fun.
yeah.
Yes. So
Can you sneak peek? Are we? I mean, you're designing miniatures in HeroForge. Are we getting a map?
we are getting a map. We're getting a map. We're getting it. I've got miniatures. Some of them have appeared in small frames. I've used the miniature for the mysterious guy with lots of dragon marks. I've shown I showed the miniature for Tommel at the end of the last episode, and then, well, we know Hallis is somewhere down there, and so we've seen what Hallis looks like. So I've got, yeah, we're gonna do we got a map. We're gonna do it on Harpy because just think that will be fun. I don't know, this is one of those fights where maybe you could run it uh in theater of the mind without much difficulty because the room isn't super complicated. I've described it as just a big chamber with a raised platform in the middle. But I always feel like when I'm doing a fight that has, not only that's really dangerous, but also has potentially significant narrative consequences, I really like to have the map so that when we get into, like, I'm casting a spell and it's got this area, we can say with
Yeah.
certainty who you can get in that. And it's not just well, it kind of seems like, just, I like to have um, the neutrality of the map and the positions evident
Yeah,
when
I like
it's
it just
mapping.
for informational purposes for that reason. I don't have to ask. I can just count if they're in range
Yeah.
and go. That is helpful for me.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I keep hoping every Tuesday when Hero Forge drops new stuff that they're going to give me a big cat miniature,
yeah.
so I can actually have Cal on the board, but no such luck. So unless it happens next Tuesday, we'll just have to have a Cal as a little purple wolf again. But
Are you able to in Are you able to like just enlarge In
Yeah, but he just looked like a big house cat. Like, it definitely just looks like a house cat. Like, there's nothing about the cat miniature that looks anything like a leopard or a tiger or anything like that. It's very
Gotcha.
much just a house cat. So yeah, if it looked
Speaking
more
of,
if it looked more like some sort of hunting cat, yeah, but it's definitely just it would just be a gigantic house cat, and that would be funny, um,
yeah.
admittedly, but oh well. But yeah, so anyway, as we have mentioned, there will be no Kyber shards this Monday. Whole bunch of scheduling has just meant that it's been 4 weeks or more since we recorded anything, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
y'all think y'all been on a cliffhanger. We've been
right,
sitting
yes.
with this for a minute.
Yeah, I think we recorded right at the beginning of the month and not since. So it's been quite a while. Y'all been sitting
Yeah.
on it.
I haven't
Uh
played D&D of any sort
February has been the
in
worst for scheduling.
a long time.
Yeah. February has been a mess for scheduling. But hopefully we'll get to record next week and we'll be back to our regular programming the following Monday. So in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for your patience with this, our first interruption in 2 years, which is pretty good. And until next time, thanks for rolling with us.